Good morning, everybody. My name is Sean Michael Walker, and this is the Insurance You Indemnify Me podcast. And this morning we have Ray Huang on the podcast with us. Ray, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I must say, for everybody watching this podcast episode specifically, they're going, "What is going on here? Why is Sean doing a Teams meeting or a WebEx meeting? I don't normally do this." Ray and I have tried this once before in person, and it didn't work out. The audio didn't work out. Our production team must have done something to screw up. No, I was just kidding.
Don't
But
blame him.
this is round number 2. So thank you very much for trying to do this with me a second time, Ray, and getting today we're gonna dispel what it is that Canopy is and what it is not, and everything. I just can't wait to get into this topic, because I should start out by saying, uh, every single podcast episode I do with an agent, and most of my podcast episodes are with agents, insurance
Mhm.
agency owners. And when I ask them about their tech stack, every single time Canopy comes up, and it turns into an absolute love fest. They're just, "Oh, it's the best tool. It's the most amazing thing. I can't live without it. I didn't know that there was a better life, post Canopy, not post Canopy, but with the use of Canopy." And so I thought it's time we do a Canopy episode where we talk about what it is, what it isn't, what it's going to be, what it currently is, the
Yeah.
roadmap, everything. We're going to dispel all of the everything that it is, and we're going to get it out there in this one single episode. So thank you very much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Let's do it. It's funny you mentioned the your guest loving it. We've got a Slack channel in that we all follow in our internal Slack called Canopy Love.
Okay.
And like whenever we have sales calls or demo calls or onboarding calls or any kind of calls like that, we'll put little clips in there, little quotes in there, things we find on social. When I've definitely put that in there when some of your podcast clips come out.
Sure.
Because it helps us, I think, as a company feel that love, right? Like it's happening, it's out there, it's happening in conversations, but to let our engineers, who are amazing, to let them know, hey, you're making an impact on, not just we're hoping your conversion, but people love this, and that's kind of the holy grail of software.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any business, right?
So let's start out with who you are, Ray.
Yes, sir.
Who the heck are you? We'll get into who Canopy is, but how long have you been with Canopy? How long have you been in insurance? I don't think you're an insurance guy, so give us who you are, and you're going to have to explain that guitar on your back wall as well. So,
all right,
who are you? But weave in that guitar in your response, okay?
All right. So I'm the head of marketing here at Canopy Connect. I've been here for 2 years. Was not in insurance before. I've been in business to business software marketing for well over 20 years now. So I come from that world. I've worked in a bunch of different industries, from, accounting, accounts receivable, automation, the education space, selling professional development software. A lot of you guys in college probably use a software called Turnitin, which is a plagiarism checking software a lot of people use. So I came up through those ranks. And then even going way back, right out of college, I was doing real estate sales, right? And I loved it. It was fun. It was exciting. I felt like I was super knowledgeable about it. But at the time I was 21 and I looked like I was 16 years old. Driving a little 96 Honda Prelude. Not like the trusted professional that you would probably expect. And it was one of those things where it's I knew the business pretty well. I just wasn't at a place where I think I could have been effective. But now I look back at it, I'm like, man, I could have been doing this I could have been this seasoned 25-year real estate vet. What a freaking business I could have built just sticking through it from 2001 to through the ups and downs. But in Orange County, no less, in Southern California, where real estate is is crazy. You were just recently in down there in like San
Uh,
Diego or something,
yeah,
right?
my dad lives in San Diego, so I took my
Okay.
son down there and, just for a guys' weekend, and we had a great weekend. We rented a BMW convertible, and, we
Wow.
surfed, and we got my favorite tacos in the entire United States at El Gordo's, and, we just had a great time. It was a really great
Awesome.
time. Yeah.
Awesome. But
Alright,
as far
the
as the
guitar.
stuff on the
Yeah,
wall,
but the guitar, really the important thing.
what's important? I I dabbled in a lot of instruments growing up.
Yeah.
Um, like any Asian kid, I had to play the violin and the piano. But that was very boring to me. So then I started playing the guitar a little bit. I'm not good by any means. I think this one right here is the acoustic
Uh,
guitar. I've had that one
yeah,
for years.
yeah.
I just recently, I think over the holidays, I got this electric Ibanez, I think. But I'm just trying to shred a little bit on there, but
Yeah,
not I'm not shredding in a good way. It sounds terrible, but it's fun. It's a nice little escape.
yeah,
I've got a setup with the headphones, so my kids go to bed, and
right, and you can shred
I'm
and
I'm
not make noise.
shredding. I'm trying to play. Yeah, I've got this post-it right here. Um, my goal for the year is to play Metallica 1.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
it's a hard song. It's
Yeah,
it's ambitious, but
yeah.
there's my goal. Um,
So our family started when COVID started, we kinda asked ourselves a philosophical question, like, when this whole thing is over, what do we want to have done with all of this time that we've been given?
yeah.
And, so I owned a guitar back in college. It was like $100 piece of crap acoustic guitar, and, and so we all kinda decided, let's all learn the guitar. Well, we quickly learned that 3 people, me and my son and my daughter, couldn't all share 1 guitar. So
Right.
now we have exactly what you have behind you, a guitar wall, except there are 6 guitars on the guitar wall now.
Wow.
And we went out and we just went crazy in guitar land, during COVID, and just we bought guitars and we bought amps, and the whole family just jammed out for, 18 months or however long COVID went, and we just like, the only thing we ever YouTubed or Googled or anything that we watched was, like, YouTube, how to play Metallica 1, and we just
Yeah.
went straight for it and went for it. And now I would say, I don't know how long it's been since, COVID, let's just say 3 years or whatever.
Yeah.
We've been a guitar family for, like, the last 3 years now, so
Nice. 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 You
yeah,
guys have little
so we've
jam
we've got our
sessions.
we've got ourselves a guitar wall as well, so
Yeah. My wife's always like, I want to play the drums. Like, I want to go get a drum kit. I was like, I don't know if you want to commit to a drum kit. My son's taking, he's 11. He's in
yeah,
band and he's doing percussion. But I
okay.
was
You
thinking
need a drum
percussion,
kit.
you're going to be doing drums, but they're doing
Yeah.
like xylophone
Oh.
stuff. But we get around to it. He likes it.
Very cool,
What
very
sort
cool.
of band?
Well,
Mhm.
I love your shirt, I love the marketing at Canopy Connect. I know we'll get into a whole bunch of different stuff, but, you guys do all this fun, creative stuff, and I just absolutely love it, and I
Nice.
guess we should start there. I absolutely giggle at almost everything that you guys create, and the shirt is amazing. For anybody who doesn't know, there's the Canopy Connect logo all over that shirt, and it's just really fun stuff that you guys are doing over there.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. We try to, you know, for me, we did like a light rebrand
Yeah,
about a year ago, new website and cranked that out and kind of updated our logo stayed the same, but we updated our colors and fonts and
yeah,
all that stuff. We brought a little bit more purple into the mix.
yeah,
And we've been just trying to have a little bit of fun. It's more like, hey, I know I'm trying to be in your social feeds, and
yeah,
you're not going to stop at like, here's a screen share of a demo of Canopy Connect,
right.
but it's more about like, hey, how can I add value? How can I like brighten your day? I'm really big on memes and doing other. I'm sure you guys have seen plenty of
Hilarious,
stuff that we've put
hilarious.
out. It's light, it's fun, it's relevant to an extent. We try to like, they're usually around. The quoting process sucks. There's a ton of friction, things like that all hit sort of, loosely hit some of our relevancy points within the insurance space. But, yeah, we just want to have some fun with it and get out there. the Hawaiian shirts were my idea, and we used to go to conferences.
Somebody in the
And
organization right now is like, "It wasn't his idea. That was
it,
my idea."
well, I'm about to give credit to Casey. A lot of folks know
And
Casey
Casey right now is
Armstrong.
like, "It was my
He's
idea."
he does all of our demos, and he shows up for the conferences, and he always
Right.
wears these awesome
Hawaiian shirts. Yeah.
Hawaiian shirts. So I kind of leaned into it. I was like, hey, we're going to this conference next month. So I bought these Hawaiian, there's these Hawaiian shirts you can buy where you can put your face on, like they'll print your face on it. So I was like, okay, well, I just uploaded my logo, and it was not this version. It was like just like a really audacious, like bright shirt. And I was like, hey, we'll stand out at the conference.
Right.
And so that was a hit. And I was like, okay, let's go make some good ones. Right. So I ordered a bunch of fresh ones, and now it's like, now I give out lays and stuff at our booths, and people have a good time with it.
You know what's funny is you gave me one of those shirts, and I wasn't wearing it, but I forget where it was. Maybe it was in one of the snippets that I shared online, and somebody was like, "That's an amazing shirt. I love Canopy Connect shirts," and it like people maybe it was on Reddit or something, that platform, but they were all going crazy for Canopy Connect swag, and I was like, "Well, that's interesting." So, you guys got something going on.
Well, I'm not going to give it away, but we've got some conferences coming up. We'll be at Hawksoft's Hug conference and NetView.
Yeah.
I don't know when you'll publish this, but those are coming up. We got some fun things that you will have never seen at an insurance conference.
All right, let's get into this.
Let's do it.
Let's start out with the most basic question.
Yes, sir.
On all of my interviews, agents talk about Hawksoft. Agents talk about Canopy Connect, and they go, "Yeah, it's this amazing thing. It's a portal. I send it off to my customer. They get into it, they fill it out, and then I get all the deck pages." And they kind of explain it to me real fast on the podcast, and I go, "Okay, I get that." But then from my perspective, I'm also always going like, what else is it? Like, it's got to be more than just that. So maybe let's just start with what is it, and then for me, what else is it that I'm not getting, or that hasn't been explained to me yet, that the agents that I'm interviewing with on the podcast have yet to like expound on and go, well, it's also this, So what is it?
Yeah. So Canopy Connect, I always say it's the fastest way to collect verified insurance information. And there's a couple keywords in there. There's fast, the insurance information, and then verified, which is kind of maybe a key differentiator than whatever you're doing now. Okay. So for an insurance agent, you have to collect insurance information up front, and that can come through a lot of different ways. Asking questions on a phone, long forms. Maybe you want to pre-fill that stuff through some other source. But you need that information in order to send over a quote. So what we enable is, hey, instead of doing a lot of that other nonsense, just say, hey, you got them on the phone. Hey, I'm going to text you a link. Find your carrier, sign in to that carrier, and it's going to authorize kind of sharing all of their pertinent policy information and more to me, your insurance agent. That's going to show up in a nice dashboard, and then you can send that on to your rating system or CRM system, wherever you want to go with it. So at a crux, you're right. This is what we do is we collect that insurance data, and that comes in structured data, deck pages, renewal docs, things like that. Mm-hmm. And there's sort of that, hey, do one thing and do one thing really well. Yeah. And I think we've nailed that. And then now we're kind of broadening out into like, okay, what other data can we pull that's adjacent that is still relevant? So now we're, if you're getting property information, if you're getting property insurance, we can pull in and enrich a lot of that property data from county records and other places. So you'll know how many square feet, how many bedrooms, what's the current like market valuations, land value, things like that. Obviously the VIN numbers that come with the vehicles is always there. And like, that's one of the big pain points, right? It's like, oh, I got to type in this 16-digit VIN number. letters and
Yeah,
numbers, and like that's cool when you got 1 or 2 cars, but every once in a while you get that guy with 6 cars.
right.
Um, have fun with that, right? You're bound to make a mistake somewhere
Yeah.
along that line. Um, and
And it
then
pulls back it pulls back property, auto, the boat, it pulls
the
back the rental property. I mean, does it pull back, like it basically, like, brings back, like, everything that they have with wherever their other insurance is with State Farm or whoever, doesn't matter who it's with, it brings it all to the agent and puts it in their hands.
yeah, yeah. So they got 6 property. They're a
Wow.
six-property investor. Like we'll pull all that information
Yeah.
and enrich it
Cool.
all. Boats, RVs, motorcycles, we'll get all that stuff as well. Life insurance, if it's with that same carrier,
Yeah.
we'll pull that too. Works across personal lines as well as commercial.
'Kay.
Commercial is a newer foray. We've been doing it for about a year. So we're able to get that multi-peril BOP, commercial auto, obviously, and any property information um, associated with those as well. And then we don't have those connected into raters yet, but we
Yeah.
will. And that's been taken off. We're getting some really good feedback on
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So I just wanna drive this home. So, a lot of agents think that this is a personal lines product. A lot of agents are going, "This is the greatest thing for personal lines agents to collect documents," but you are emphatically saying, "Stop thinking of it as strictly a personal lines product. It
It's
can also
all
help you with your commercial lines, uh, information gathering process."
That's right. All PNC. And I should say on the commercial product, we're also be able to pull in loss run information.
Wow.
So we know all the losses, those come structured as well as in a PDF for
Uh-huh.
each policy. Like, have you ever tried to get loss runs from a carrier or from another agent?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that's a fun experience.
Right.
And takes days, if not weeks,
Right.
and hopefully you're not blocked at the end of it, right?
Right.
Um, so we're able to get that, or I say relatively discreetly. The other agent's not really notified, so you can kind of get the ball rolling and not lose any momentum off of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and run your quotes, get stuff back there, and then like you're moving versus like we got the information, now we're like we're waiting days to get the loss runs, which you've already told me, but I need to verify it. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. I have 2 questions. I'm gonna put them together. You answer them in whatever order you want. But
got it.
my biggest question when I have agents talk to me about Canopy and they're like, "It's the greatest thing. I love it. I love it. I love it." Um, and by the way, some of your biggest naysayers have fallen in love with Canopy. They're like, "I thought I could live without it, but I see it turns out I can't. It's the most amazing thing on earth." But 2 questions.
Yes, sir.
Um, and address them how you want. One is what percent of clients actually use this link? So I personally have a hard time believing that I'm going to say to a client, I'm going to send you a link and 95% of the time the client's going to go, "Sure, I'll fill out that link and get it back to you." Uh Probably because I'm the kind of guy who goes, "I have no idea how to sign into the farmer's platform. I've never done it before. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah,
Ray, can't we just go through the process of you collecting the information that you need from me because I don't want to go in there and fill out this link?" So that's question number 1. What percent of clients actually use the link that's sent to them?
hmm
And then the next question is um, kind of in tandem with this is what do you say to an agent who says, "I don't struggle to get my client's information already. So I have a really good process. You know, my clients don't fight with me. The way I ask is witty and charming and I get it. So I don't need you guys because
yeah,
I have a really good way of asking for the things that I need in order to quote a risk."
yeah.
How would you answer those 2 questions?
So the first one, as far as what percentage of clients are actually filling it out, this is a bit of like one of those tale of two cities or tale of two agents, right?
Yeah.
On one hand, we've got our rating fans that love us and use us and are committed to the process, trust the process
Uh-huh.
sort of deal. And when they do that, they're seeing 70, 80, 90% hit rate on getting that back.
Wow.
And I think that comes from a matter of like how you are presenting it, how you talk about it, how you operate your
Sure.
business and your
Sure.
processes. And look, it's about saying this is how I do business. I'm a modern insurance agent, agency, and this is how we roll. Like, here's a link, fill it out. Right? I won't say I'm not giving you a choice, but I'm saying this is the way that we want to move forward
This is how you
in this
interact with our
process.
agents. Yeah.
And for most people, like, look, it's fine because, you don't shop for insurance, hopefully more than once a year or every 5 years, so like they don't know the process, right?
Right.
It's rarely oh, well, my old insurance agent didn't ask me
Right.
for this 5 years ago. I was like, well, Canopy Connect, we didn't exist 5 years ago.
Right.
So like they don't know better. So they see a ton of success with it. And again, it's built into their process. And I know some folks are like, hey, if they're not willing to do it, I'm not willing to do business with them.
Yeah. Yeah. I've
Right?
heard agents say that before. They just say, look, if they're not going to obey my process, then I let them walk because they're not my ideal client anyway.
Yeah. So it's a level of commitment and process and technique. The other group might see something that's more akin to like a 30 to 50% hit rate on it. And it's because this is one of 4 options of how you can send me information.
Yeah.
Or they like overly hedge and they feel the need to like talk about, oh, this is a very secure solution, and which we are, but
Yeah.
the more you have to explain, like the more you have to say, trust me,
Right.
the less they trust you. Right. And so it's one of those, like how you're presenting it. If they're not committed to it being part of your process, like you just see less success from it, over time. And what was your other question? Your other question was?
The other question was, I don't struggle to get the information from my clients. I have a process that's
Yes.
amazing and gorgeous, and I ask in just the right witty way that gets them to send me their deck pages just every single time. So,
Yep.
so why do I have to pay Canopy Connect to help me do this?
Yeah. So my view on that is, look, just because you're doing something and it is working does not mean it's working the best way that it could be.
Yeah, good,
right?
better, best, right?
You thought your gas car was great until until you had to go up that Colorado mountain and you're realizing, oh, I don't have all-wheel drive.
Right.
Or I need a little bit more torque. Oh, hey, there's electric cars now. And, I'm sure when you rented that BMW in San Diego, there's some bells and whistles in there that you're like, oh, nice. I didn't know this existed. And now like life's not the same when I go back to my, whatever you're driving. So it's a bit of that, right? Like just because you're doing it one way doesn't mean that there's not a better way to do it. And if you're in the business of like, hey, I want to make my business processes better, like everyone's got a process, like stuff can work, but like you want things moving smoothly, humming along. You want to remove a lot of friction from your process. And to the point of like, oh, I don't mind talking to my customer, my client, and asking him these questions, and, having a conversation.
Yeah.
I think it's great. And I don't want our product to eliminate that, having conversations with your prospect, but it shouldn't be an interrogation. Right. And I famously have this meme that I love, which is the Batman Joker interrogation scene, where the guy's like, where are the deck pages? And slamming the Joker's head on the table, trying to like get this information out of him. And like your client, the Joker, like has no idea what you're talking about, or at least is pretending not to know. That's one of my favorite memes. And
that one made me laugh for a long time.
Yeah. So like, it may feel like it's a conversation to you, but the client might feel like, hey, why are you asking me, grilling me on all these questions? I don't know the answer. I don't know what my wind and hail deductible is. Like, why is that different? I don't, right? So if you can instead have a conversation that is a more informed conversation, right? So that when we jump on the phone, you already know, I already know as the agent, your policy information, what do you currently have? And I can talk to you about recommendations, and I can talk to you about what are some of your potential risks? What do you have to lose? Right. And change the framing of that. Well, now I'm being positioned as a trusted advisor without saying, trust me. Right.
Right.
But actually doing that. So I think that's something to think about, just like better processes. How's that experience coming along? How do we remove that friction?
Yeah, you make 2 good points, and, I think that, one point is what, Chris Long I mean, Chris Long, more than anybody, was like, "This is amazing, let me tell you exactly why." And
Yeah.
his point was, "No longer do I lose on rate." Before, I used to quote a policy and somebody would say, "Yeah, I'm gonna stay where I'm at because or I'm gonna go somewhere else because I'm saving, $450." And when he finds out that the agent that he quoted him was quoting him minimum limits or rejecting, coverages or it was not an apples to apples thing, and so he was sitting there going, "No longer does that ever occur, that can't
Right.
happen to me anymore, because once I have their deck pages in front of me, once I have all of the information in front of me, I can make sure that I'm quoting an apples to apples situation, and if I lose, then I lose, and if I lose by thousands of dollars, that's okay, but at least I know I did this apples to apples comparison."
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of power in that. A lot of power in that, because I imagine agents listening to this are going, "Yeah, that's happened to me. I've lost a policy, not because, I should have lost a policy. I lost a policy because I wasn't even playing the
Yep.
same game." Um, the other one that I think is really important that you bring up is, the other one that you bring up is what was it? Uh Oh, the interrogation. So,
Yeah.
I think it's I haven't stopped thinking about this, from the last time we recorded, but, an agent who goes, "Yeah, I get the information, and I like the way I get the information. I ask the customer 30 minutes worth of questions, and when I'm done with the 30 minutes worth of questions and I have this delightful conversation with the customer, I can then quote the customer and take it to market and do all this stuff." And you said, "Yeah, that may feel like a good thing for you, the agent or the agency owner, but the customer interprets that as a 30-minute interrogation
Yeah.
and interprets it that way." And so, I think our agents have to, not just our agents, agents in general across the universe have to go, what does my process currently look like? And how does the customer interpret the current process?
Yeah.
And if the customer interprets the current process as being a bumpy, herky jerky kind of uncomfortable process, then suddenly you gotta go, is there a tool that can fix that and smooth that out? And from what I understand, Canopy is the tool that does that better than anybody else. So it's
Yeah.
pretty neat.
Yeah, you definitely. I think you hit on something, right? There's the business process, and you want that to be as efficient and well oiled as possible, but not also at the cost of the customer experience, which are
Right.
two parallel but very separate things.
Yeah.
And sometimes we get over efficient, and I've seen this in the corporate software business marketing world as well. Like, when you request a demo or something on a form,
Right.
we have enough technology out there where I can just ask your email, frankly, but your name and
Right.
your email, and I can go enrich that and pull all that information,
Right.
right? Or I can ask you 25 questions, right? And what happens there is you get 4 questions in, and you go, I don't think I was that interested, right?
Right. Right. Right.
And so that's the whole conversion optimization thing. But you're like, but I need this information in order to route this to the right rep in the right territory,
Right.
because of however it's set up. So things like that, where you're like, well, we're adding these layers and asking these information and doing these certain things for the sake of my business process
Right.
at the
Right.
cost of the customer
Right.
experience.
Right.
So
I just want to hammer home what you said earlier because it might have gone in one ear and out another ear, but and so I'll ask it in the form of a question. Once once a client fills out the link and I have access to all of the information, does it automatically pre-fill in my comparative rater in my management system, or do I click a button with Canopy Connect and say, please pre-fill
Yeah.
my other technological tools that I use in my agency? What happens there?
Yeah, you can set it up either way. Some people want to see it and be like, do I even want to send it to my rater?
Well,
Or
okay.
maybe I don't want to send every single thing
Yeah.
through my rater. So you can either set it up so you click it and it pushes it over at that time, or you can set it up
Predetermined.
where as soon as they fill it out, right, it sends over to Easy Links or PL Rating or Quote Rush, and um, it's already there. And then you log into Quote Rush and you send it out. In those circumstances, like you don't even need to come into your Canopy Connect dashboard outside of like having your link, which you probably have bookmarked somewhere else anyway. Right. And it's just, so then your workflow is a little bit different, a little bit more efficient, where you can come in and depending on like where your integration points are, operate kind of the way you've always done it, except like all the data is there, all the data is accurate and verified. So
Yeah.
it's up to you. Where we try to be flexible enough, like to work with any system, and we're very famously and want to stay platform agnostic. We are our own tool. We are the best in breed of what we do. And we want to take that data and send it where you want it to be sent. Right. So
Okay. So if I want to send it to the Travelers rating platform or the SafeGo rating platform or wherever, can I
yeah.
send it there as well, or is that not
Not yet.
doesn't exist yet?
That's something we're working on, building out more relationships with these different carriers, to get that level of access, and integration. It's a whole different like arm of the
Sure.
business for us to operate
Sure.
and do that technical integration with on a one-to-one basis. I mean, that's kind of what raters do, right?
Right. Right.
But I know not everyone operates off of raters. But yeah, we're working on some export processes and things like that where we can export things in certain formats that are friendly. You know how fragmented the insurance tech space
Right.
is, so it's a challenge, but I think it's a direction that we're headed toward.
Okay. Next question. What does the roadmap of development look like? What's coming next? What's happening?
Yeah, we've got on the heels of doing more integrations, we have already integrated with the raters. We're starting to integrate more with different AMS and CRM systems. So Agency Zoom is a long asked for, long wanted
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So we're going to be announcing that very soon,
Yeah.
as well as integrating into the new Hawksoft, I think
Yeah.
version 6, the one that's actually in the cloud.
Yeah.
So those are coming soon. We are doing integrations in with Salesforce as well. A lot of agencies are working on the Salesforce CRM, so we're integrating into there soon. That might be a few months out still, but trying to build more within that ecosystem. We're doing other things on the side where there's some aspects of policy servicing, maybe less relevant for the insurance agency specific space, but like our technology on the back end is also powering a lot of like consumer apps, those like digital wallet type things, the systems that are where you can plug in all your different bank accounts and they'll help you monitor and get you the best deal, those types of deals.
Yeah.
We're working with like auto dealerships. I know there's some insurance arms that are embedded within auto dealerships, but we're working directly with auto dealerships as well. Mortgage, banking, finance, those types of apps. So we're definitely doing more, even like still in the insurance kind of vertical, but slightly different applications.
Sure.
That is really interesting. Yeah.
Okay. Think about your customer at Canopy Connect. They use Canopy Connect. They pay for Canopy Connect, and they're kind of like the golden child. They use the product better than anybody else uses the product. Whatever agency that is in the United States, wherever they are, We don't have to talk about their name per se, but how are they using it? Why are they like the most effective user of Canopy Connect? How are they using it?
Yeah. So the most effective, they've got it plugged into they've got probably our link or their custom Canopy Connect link
Yep.
put into some different automation sequences that are in their CRM. So it's going out at the right time, right? Quote comes in.
Yep.
Instead of a generic autoresponder, hey, we'll get back to you in whatever 24 hours, whatever you say in that literally that email has no value aside from like,
Right.
got it, thanks,
We heard you. We're
right?
coming.
Instead of that, like, hey, let's fire off an email that has a Canopy Connect link and says, hey, let's get to the next step 2 of the process, right?
Yeah.
So then they fill that out. That comes back into their CRM, ties into that record. They can send it off to when the agent comes back in the morning. And I've got one agent that comes in that says, hey, I come in the morning and there's 5 leads in ready to quote. Canopy Connect's already been done.
Yeah.
And they're ready to go. Right. So they build that in, they get the quote, then they turn around and they're able to deliver the quote. I see the best ones kind of starting to do more video proposals, things like that. If they want to do it at a certain scale, or they're setting up meetings to do it.
Yeah.
That's your business, how you want to go after that. But really from that automation standpoint, right? Inbound quote request, send out the Canopy Connect link. They're prompted to fill that out. And if they're not, you can send the reminders and things like that to get that all done. You come in the morning, it's ready to go.
Push it to the comparative rater and you're moving.
That's right. We've got folks that are using it on like from more of a marketing aspects. I see people using QR codes for different events. If you're sponsoring a local thing and you got your little booth, tent, table, whatever, and you want to just say, hey, we're doing this giveaway in exchange for a free policy review, something like that, right? Let's make it really easy. I don't need you to fill out a long form. I just need you to click on this link and fill it out. When I get it, like, here's your Yeti mug or whatever you're giving out for that. So it's a win-win situation. They get a policy review, you get a lead. Or Stanley mug, sorry, that's
gotta be a Stanley at this point.
That's the hot new thing. I don't
okay, cool. APIs, I could have sworn somebody reached out to me and said, I swear some other company reached out to me and said something like, hey, we're doing this really cool thing in the industry and we have this really neat thing. And after 10 or 15 questions, it came down to, yeah, we're doing this really cool thing through Canopy Connect. Please buy our product or something like that. And I was like, okay, but like, is anybody using APIs? Is anybody using Canopy Connect to like the nth degree? And it's like, wow, Sean, these people have really cracked some amazing code with Canopy Connect's with Canopy Connect, being the main engine for what they're doing.
Yeah. Again, like we've got a lot of these integrations into the different raters, and those are all powered through our APIs connecting to theirs. That's the main sort of technical use case. Your insurance agents, like, you don't need to deal with any of that. You shouldn't have to, right? That's right. You're not the software developer. No, I know there's certainly plenty of tech guys that are also listening to your podcast.
Sure.
Right. We can connect with them and we've got clear documentation, all that stuff on how to do it. And like I said, we've got all these other applications for, at any point in whatever business you're running, you need to verify insurance information. You need to intake insurance information. Mm-hmm. We can do that. There's a lot of use cases out there outside of the insurance agency space. You think of like when you go rent a car and you go rent that BMW in San Diego,
right?
You got offered, do you want our extended insurance? Of course not, because it's probably covered through your credit card or it is extended through your auto policy. How does Avis or Budget or, Hertz, how do they know it's covered in one of those other scenarios? Like maybe they know on the credit card, but like they definitely don't know your own insurance if, whether that's covered or not. So maybe they can set up a process when you're renting the car to plug in Canopy Connect
Confirm.
to confirm that, right? And if they don't, well, now you've got a stronger sell on.
Same with an auto dealership. Let's confirm before you drive this car off the lot that you have insurance.
You may not have that grace period that you think you have. And if you're getting it financed, like you definitely want to make sure the lien holder's on there. I did hear on one call, there's a guy that bought a car, drove off the lot and wrecked it. Wasn't, and I think the same guy was like, guy wrecked a car on a test drive. Who pays for that? Like, I don't know what the resolution was on that, but like they called us the next day.
Hey,
and they're like, well, hey, maybe we do want to check
how do we work with
if they do that. Yeah. Like before they take your license, they might take a photocopy of it.
Sure.
Which is that's just like, so you don't run away with the car.
Sure.
But like, maybe you want to see if they're insured. Maybe you want to see if they've got like 6 claims accidents on their record, or they're like a
keys and say, let's go driving.
Yeah.
Okay. I got a couple more questions and then we'll wrap it up. But what would you say about the competition? So the more I've been talking about Canopy, or the more I hear about Canopy, the more I hear agents go, "Oh, I like this one." Or so I guess the question is what is Canopy's like? What makes you different? What makes you better than the competition?
Yep. And I love this question because a lot of it depends. I think competition always depends on how you frame competition. If you frame it in the sense of like, hey, we're solving the problem of insurance agents needing to get data. That's part of their process. Then who are we competing with? We're competing with like a bunch of form fill solutions and people that's as sophisticated as like Gravity Forms or Jot Forms or something like that, where they're kind of home building it. And there's a lot of other like solutions that have more of a guided, purpose-built insurance form.
Yeah.
Still a form. It's still a long form. It's still a ton of conversion points. Yeah. It's just for me, it's just a virtual, nicely formatted way of that interrogation.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, like there's prefill. A lot of the raters just have like, oh, you can just pay like 20 cents or whatever it is to get prefill, and
cost more than 20.
Well, yeah, I don't know. But then you ask anyone like, how accurate is that? How well do you trust that information?
Sure.
I mean, how many Sean Walkers are there in Denver alone, right?
Shawn Michael Walkers?
Maybe a fair, but still, right? There's always like data errors and all that happens. If there's policy information attached to it, when was that policy last updated? It's just not verified. It comes from like a multitude of sources. And if any point in that something's wrong, that whole trust is eroded, right? If I took the assumption that this is all accurate and it's not, then I've taken a couple steps back in building the trust.
Right.
We've got some direct competitors that do something similar to what we do. To those, like we're faster. We've got deeper coverage. So we cover 95, 96% of the auto insurance market, 90% of the homeowners market, and 60% of the commercial side as well. So like those numbers are not even close to what the others are doing. Sure, if you look at, you'll see, oh, they have all got Farmers and State Farm, right? And you can cover that. That covers 50% of the market with like 30 carriers.
Sure.
But there's a long tail, right? And if you want to send this link out and be confident that when you send this out, you get a response, like you need to know that those carriers are on there, and 9.5 times out of 10, like they are for us. Yeah. Whereas it might be 70% of the time or 60% of the time.
Do they enrich their data as well, like you guys do?
They don't. A lot of them are just pulling straight deck pages, which is fine. But then you get in that situation. What do you do next with it, right? We've built out a lot of the integrations, which streamlines the rest of the process, because the data sitting in a silo doesn't help anyone really. It helps a little bit, but not if you got to still then take 20 minutes and like rekey all that.
Right.
Good luck with that. And they're slow, and they're, there's security aspects. I'm not going to I haven't done like deep security reviews with
Sure.
them. I do have one competitor that like straight rips sections of our website
Mm.
out. And like for us, trust is a big deal. In we deal in data, people's data,
Yeah.
and it's not just like the insurance agency's data, it's like your client's data. So there's two levels of trust that need to be there. So
Right.
we try to operate with a large leaning towards building trust and not doing things that are not trustworthy. And that's
Right.
something that I think is not there with every company. I'll just say
Sure.
that.
Sure. Okay. And then I don't know how you want to get into this, but like I know the cost. Every time I hear an agent go, "This is what it costs," and they've even said it on my podcast where, an agent will be like, "Yeah, it's X," and I'm like, "That's really affordable." Like, how why is it so affordable? And maybe it's because you guys realize it's so affordable because it's one small sliver of the whole process, and so we
Yeah.
don't wanna charge too much for that small sliver of the process. Um, and those are my words, obviously not yours, but like, what can you say about cost of what Canopy is?
Yeah. Yeah. So
And
we've
then
got,
I guess just to build on that, I think there's a couple tiers there too. So
mhm.
maybe like talk to me about costs and then talk to me about tiers.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll try to keep it simple.
Yeah.
We have plans that start at $100.
Yeah,
That
that's
gives you that
so
core functionality of, right. It solves the problem of I need to get insurance information. I want to send out the link,
yeah,
pull all the information. You've got all the same carriers,
yeah.
and pull that information just as fast. 100 bucks, you get like 50 of those personal. This is just personal lines only. This is kind of your entry level. We call it the starter package. Um,
And you get 50 of those a month or something? Is that what you
50
said?
of those, 50 of those a month, you get five
Yep,
seats,
yep, got it.
within it. And then if you need a little bit more with it, we have like a $250 plan called Agency Plus. That's still mostly personal lines. Um, More pools, more seats, 125, I think. But you also get access to the integrations, and that's kind of the key point, right? You want to operationalize this, you're going to need that. So you can send it to your rater, you can send it to your CRM. You get access to our API if you want to do some real fancy stuff. Um,
Data's always enriched on both of those plans?
data's enriched on the property information on that Agency Plus plan as well. And then
Okay.
we've got a couple of other plans. We've got a commercial plan that's I think playing 350. A little bit more expensive per
3,500.
pool,
3,500, everybody.
$350
Oh, wow. Oh,
per month.
okay.
But yeah, so and then we've got permutations of those where if you need personal and commercial, we've got little bundle packages that you can look there. So pricing's all on our website. We're very open about what it is. I think the agents that you're talking about, the ones that are getting the most out of it and operationalizing it, they're mostly using that Agency Plus plan on the personal line side, because they connect it into their systems because they're really thinking about operationalizing it and growth and all that stuff. Yeah.
Just to add on to that question, what if I'm an agent who's not thinking about operationalizing and I'm not, you know, a genius when it comes to technology? Is somebody on the Canopy Connect team going, "Hey, I know you're paying the $100 package, but let me help you figure this out a little bit better."
Mhm.
And maybe come into your agency and say, "For an extra 150 bucks, I can help you build this thing out a little bit better so it flows a little bit easier. And I know it feels like an upsell, but really all I'm here to do is help you figure out the technological aspect of
Yeah.
how others are doing this and getting it flowing better as a more effective tool in your office."
Mhm.
Or would you guys go, "Hey, Sean's never going to get it. He's just not a smart technological guy. Let's just sell him the $100 thing. He's never going to figure out the supercharged version of this just because of his lack of ability to understand technology. Let's just walk away and let them figure out that piece." Are you guys
Yeah.
helping people figure out the higher version or the better version through technology?
Yeah, I'll say like our
I
stuff.
asked that horribly, but I think you
It's
got it.
okay. Our stuff is not. It's not that complicated,
Okay.
right? Obviously, there's like agency operations stuff when you're getting systems to talk to other systems. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
things get messy there. But at a basic level, like Canopy Connect is super simple to use. You want to integrate it to your rater. We've got a, you click a couple buttons and maybe add your rater
Add your
credentials
Yeah.
and you're connected.
Yeah. Yeah.
There may be some downstream effects on like, okay, well that changes a little bit of other processes, usually in other systems. So, we don't get into that too much. We do have like a really great support team that can help you through those integration points and those little friction points, and we can get you a couple steps down. Right. But like we're not supporting other products at the same
Yeah.
time.
Sure. 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 Sure.
We do like
But you
these.
have somebody on the team going, "Hey, think about it this way." I mean, you could
Yeah.
take this 2 steps farther, and it could become, 5 times cooler than it currently is.
Yeah. So we do, when anyone signs up, we do free onboarding
Yeah.
and walk them through not just the technical setup, not just where to click, but just like how to use it, how to sell it,
Yeah.
how, give you some sees you with some ideas, some of the ones that I talked about here, right? Of ways you could be using this from a inbound response to a, more of a lead gen type methodology. And then we talk about the different integration points and why those are important. Same stuff I've already talked to you. It's operationalizing it. How do we make it easier? How do we remove friction?
Yep.
Make it less steps. What usually gets people is like, oh, I don't need to, like, we can say we can eliminate data entry from, even if you interrogated them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or you had them fill out a form, now getting that into another system. If you're still typing that in somewhere, like that gets people's thing go. Like if you already have access to, like, how much is that worth? Is that worth an extra like $100 to get these systems talking to each other and getting more pulls because you're going to get more use out of it?
Sure. Sure.
Like it's super easy. So I think it's pretty compelling to a lot of people when we hit, I want to, I'd want to do something with this data,
Yeah.
right? It's kind of a no brainer.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's all I got. Those are all my questions. So, I'll just wrap up by saying kind of what I've already said, which is I hear from agents, I would almost use the word relentlessly. Like I hear from agents constantly that Canopy Connect is the new bee's knees and is kind of the thing that needs to be plugged into any agency's process. And so I'm not a part of the daily transaction of insurance policies anymore as it relates to my career, but I interact with insurance agency owners all day long, every day, all
Yeah.
across the United States. And every single one of them is saying Canopy Connect is the thing that every agent should be using. And so I can't thank you enough for spending the time with me and kinda helping me understand it better and lift this cloud of confusion and I guess I'll just leave it there. Thank you so much, Ray.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, we'll see y'all later. Have a good day. Bye-bye.